Let's go, Mr. Smith.
All right, here we go. Sashi
Buki Joshing Meto Drum Rira Vingshi Ninde Gempadi Zange Shindu Mite Uargi Jokun Namda Shingla Chuparsho Idam Guru Ratna Mandala Kamniyatayami
Sangye
Shudam Soki Choknam La Chanchu Bardu Dagni Gyasuchi Dagi Chunyen Gipe Sunamki Chola Benchi Sangye Jupasho
Sangye
Judam Soki Choknam La Chanchu Bardu Dagni Gyasuchi Dagi Chunyen Gipe Sunamki Chola Benchir Sangye Jupasho
Sangye
Judam Sogi Choknam La Janchu Bardu Dagni Gyapsuchi Dagi Chunyen Gipe Sunamki Chola Benchir Sangye Jupasho.
All right then. First, I'd like to welcome Words partner Ani Al, and thank you for coming. So you can always bring your partner to your class, and this is so. Words text is a very, very, very famous presentation of the Mind Only School by Jetsun Kappa. It's probably the most famous presentation, and it's difficult. It's really difficult, and so we're just going to dive into it. Okay, we're still on a part where he's talking about the historical roots of the Mind Only School, and he's been talking about Nagarjuna and how Nagarjuna was predicted. His coming was predicted in the literature. So we haven't got to the philosophical part yet. Hopefully we won't today because I'm kind of tired. No, I'm just kidding. So it's not an easy text. It's a tough text, but I think the rewards are greater also. So you'll be happy you did it. It'll just be difficult. Okay, so here we go. I'm treating my copy as the mother copy, by the way.
it is, yep.
So it'll be in the Dropbox for you. I think where we are is here on the screen, okay? And it has some of my notes in it, okay?
I think we're Sejong.
I think that was our last
we did it.
section, and from last term.
Yep.
And now we're going into new material. Okay. So please read first up to the first comma.
공절기 절친 반포 dunchu 짱야 le.
Good. This pronounces B for me, and be more careful.
Bum.
Palm. Voice it here.
Palm.
Yeah, palm.
Bum.
I always tell people pronounce it like the lady who does the announcements in the Rio de Janeiro airport. She says
Flight.
She's very popular. She's very famous. She's been doing it for 20 years. She's like flight number. So it has to be this voice. It's called voiced in linguistics. Say ah. It does not exist in English. It is not a B. We use a B because it's the closest thing. So pambo. If you say bambo, it means a handful. If you say bambo, it means a volume, chapter. Guess which one it is here. Yeah, bambo. Okay. It's a chapter division. Okay, so Gongdraka Delchen, he's gonna go into a long, it's not even a quotation, it's a, what do you call that? When you take a whole section out of a book. It's an excerpt from another book to make a point about the minority school's roots. Okay, and the book he has chosen is called the Gongdel Del Chen. Del Chen means what?
Great commentary?
Yeah, the great commentary to Gongdel is Gongba Yendo.
Yeah,
Dode Gongdel.
Yeah.
What's that?
Commentary to the sutras.
Sandi no Chaya?
Dode Gongdel. Yeah, Sandi.
Sandi.
Pause there. Sandi.
Sandi.
Nirmochana.
Nirmochana.
Sandi Nirmochana. The sutra in which Lord Buddha answered the questions of why the heck did he give contradictory teachings, first, second, third turning of the wheel. That's the sutra we want to translate. Sandinir Mochana, okay, Sandinir. And it's super sexy. We have a big, just coincidence, I guess. What do you think the big commentary would be? Yeah, he's quoting Yinse. And not just quoting, he's got 2 pages on him. You know, Tsongkhapa never does that. Because he's the most smart. So why should he quote somebody else? But he holds a special regard for Yuan Tse. This is the commentary we would like to translate with the Shenzhen team, which is it's probably the only book in the Tengyur which was written in Chinese. It's written by a Chinese author, and it was written in Chinese. And then it was so respected by the Tibetans that they translated it into Tibetan and put it in the Tibetan scriptures. Okay? So it's really special. 700 years before Tsongkhapa. And he had a great regard for this. He calls it the Chinaman. He calls it the Chinese master. Gyana Kembo or Gyakembo or something like that. It's not your Gyakembo, it's a different Gyakembo. Okay, so he calls him the great Chinese master. Okay, so he's quoting Yuan Tse, which is really sexy, because we want to work on that book for the next 12 years or something. So, okay. And just so you're sure where he's quoting from, he gives the Bumble.
75th?
Yeah, the 75th Bumble. Bumble is a division of length. It's an artificial division of length, so it's not really a chapter. What do you call chapter in Tibetan? Yeah, liu. So it's not really a chapter, it's an artificial division of syllables. And it was created as a fail-safe for people adding stuff.
Yeah.
Or taking out stuff.
It's a byte count.
It's like a byte count. So in DCI, in ACIP, we always give the byte count for a file. You can't add a single letter or take out a single letter from an ACIP file without us knowing it. Or unless you can find one that's
you do the same
exact
exact
number of
amount.
bits. Which is but to replace the same bits with a different letter is unlikely. Anyway, so it's a fail-safe measure to make sure people don't add stuff, because that was common in ancient times. People would add stuff. The Yoga Sutra, we don't know if the whole Yoga Sutra, probably the 4th chapter is added. Things like that. Okay, so going down to Del Chambamo, he's quoting. He starts the quotation here, and just for words information, he goes down to here. It's unprecedented for Tsongkhapa to quote somebody for 3 paragraphs, 4 paragraphs, 5 paragraphs. Okay? So it must have been important. So I made you a note where the quotation starts. And I went and got the quotation, which is here, to make sure there were no changes. And that's something you can do. You know, you can go compare them, read them into a tape recorder and then replay it backward. That's not a bad way.
Oh, really?
Okay, and here's the attribution, Wensek, which is the Korean pronunciation of Yonsek. And here's the full name of the commentary. Papa Gomba Samunge Padawedo, the sutra where he explains what he really meant, and the great commentary. Okay, so that's the full name of his book, and I'll give you the file.
Okay.
You don't have to stress about it. And I kept looking for the end of the quotation, and I finally was like, wow, this is long. Okay. But it's if you want to get a taste for what's Yunze sound like, he's accessible, and he's accurate. Okay, that's why Tsongkhapa would bother to quote him. So it's easy to read. It's not too hard to read. Tibetan is interesting because English has changed a lot since Shakespeare or something, Chaucer. Tibetan has not. If you can read classical Tibetan from 1000, you can read classical Tibetan from 1800. They read the same. So that's good for us. That's lucky for us. Okay. So please read up to the comma.
Denye sangye neyen le depa.
Oh, and do this one?
Ne
Nya.
nya
Yeah.
na nya nye le dene loni gye lunpe gya lunpe oktu jangchup sempa ludrup ki dode sharab ki parotu chimba la tene
Tenne. I don't want to hear English teeth. Okay. Tenne.
ten chu namze de.
Good. All right. So it's pretty readable. Yunze is pretty readable. Not too difficult. Dene, and then Sangye Nyangen Ne. Dene means what?
The Buddha's parinirvana.
Ne. After.
Oh, after.
So this ne. Somebody asked me between ne and lay. Here's an answer.
Oh, lay would never be after?
Right. Who asked me that? You?
I do.
Yeah. So ne is more often a sequence of time. After the Buddha's nirvana, he doesn't say parinirvana, he just says nirvana.
Okay.
But there's the verb after his nirvana cessation. Nyangen dene lo nigya.
200 years.
200 years.
Past.
Renba means to pass, and it's only with years. You won't see it anywhere else, and it's rare. So don't bother learning it. I'm not just making stuff where I tell you what you don't have to learn also.
It's been in my text like several times already.
After 200 years have passed,
Uh-huh.
and the Oktu just drives that point in because it means
Thereafter? Or
yeah,
under?
literally it means below,
Yeah.
but in time sequences it means after.
Yeah.
Okay, after. Then came the Chanchi Semba,
The Bodhisattva,
yeah, whose name was
Nagarjuna.
Good. And this key alerts us that what part of the sentence is it?
He's the nominative, the
Yeah,
subject.
he's going to be the subject of the sentence. He's going to do something. The Bodhisattva Nagarjuna is going to do something.
Okay.
And in fact, he's going to say, here's the verb usually at the end,
Uh-huh.
he's going to compose
Yes.
dentures.
Commentaries.
Yeah, Sanskrit?
Sa
Be careful.
Shastra.
Yeah,
Long A.
when you're teaching your students the difference between a short A and a long A in Sanskrit, like why you can't say amarta for amarta.
Oh, yeah.
Amarta means kills you right away. Amarta means death lust.
Yeah.
So, no, really. Ananda means unhappy. Ananda means the very happy one. So short A, long A, important. And if you want to teach your students Sanskrit long A's and short A's, use the word shastra as an example. Okay? Shastra means
Sword or knife.
Shastra means
Classical
classical
commentary.
commentary. Okay, so it's a nice way to. And really, one of them is and the other is and in classical Sanskrit, the duration of the vowel is doubled.
Yes.
So it's Shastra and Shastra. And you say it's faster. Shastra or Shastra.
Believe it or not, this is a topic at home.
Well, I was kind of assuming that. Because Annie's a yoga expert. Okay.
Or bribe to get you.
He composed commentaries. Then, based on
Founded on
the dose
the sutras,
of the Shirakapada
Prajnaparamita.
Borobolamido.
Boroboramido.
Okay, in Chinese. Okay, that's clear, right?
Yes.
Using the Perfection of Wisdom Sutras, he composed his own shastras, his own commentaries. And Dita Te, I'll give you some of them.
Oh.
Here's like the following. Dita Te, like the following. There's his Sherikipata Delba.
Paramita commentaries.
Yeah, which one they're talking about, I don't know. Maybe you can figure it out. But he also composed Uma.
Middle way.
Yeah,
Or
referring
wisdom.
to wisdom.
Yeah.
That's his masterpiece
Mm-hmm.
called Prajna, wisdom. Okay, etc.
Asopa.
And this is very cool because you have Xuanzang's student telling you the history of these texts. The student, the man who carried the books to China. And to me, it's important to work on these texts because you get a window into the earliest days of Chinese Buddhism. You see how it started. Okay, and what he thinks, so thinks his teacher Xuanzang, and so thinks that's the beginning.
Those.
In these books, okay, in these books or from these books, is then
Spoken or taught.
Yeah, is taught a certain idea. What's the idea? Let's go to Tsenyi Meipetsu. The way.
The method of
The way in which
things don't have indications of themselves.
Yeah, have no defining characteristics.
Yeah.
Like, what would the defining characteristics of the four elements be?
Hot.
Hot
Yeah,
burning,
they
wet
come in pairs.
flowing.
Yeah, good. So those are the classical example, Tsenyi of Tsenyi. It means defining characteristics, and what this says, these books taught us how it is that things don't have defining characteristics. Okay. In other words, the things about a pen, the indicators of pen, don't belong to that object. They're also coming from you. Okay. There's no reason why you have to conclude that that's a pen, and a dog might not. Okay.
Is this a text that Wensek is speaking from the mind-only school or from the?
That's a good question.
Yeah, because there was a mind-only school.
There
actually.
came to be a huge bias towards the mind-only school in his school.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I believe it's because the Prasangika was only just getting steam when his
Oh, I
teacher
see.
went to India. Chandrakirti wasn't famous yet. 100 years later and everything might have been different in China.
I checked it's like 40 years before the middle way, really.
40?
Yeah, 40,
Yeah.
50 years.
Wow.
Yeah,
He
Xuanzang just
missed
missed it.
Close, yeah.
Yeah, it's
And that changed the face of Chinese Buddhism.
Definitely.
Okay, so anyway, so he gave us a teaching in which he explained how it is that things don't have any characteristics of their own. And he did that by denying Bang, this no ni.
Things have an essence.
Yeah, this essence of their own, which anyway, people just number talk with it.
Made it up.
Yeah, it was just a fantasy.
Yeah.
So this is, now we had a couple of talkbas today. BTAGS without the R is the past tense of ndokpa, which means to
Impute.
apply
Yeah.
a name or,
Yes.
or glue a name onto something, right? Different spelling, different word, don't get confused.
Can I be sure it's not RTAGS? Or is it?
This is the
It's
same.
often mistakes made between the two.
This is the same in Kuntak.
This is good though.
That kuntak is misspelled.
Oh really?
Yeah, and it's very common,
Okay.
extremely common.
Okay.
I have a debate with some cop about it. I'm sorry. I mean, we'll clarify it some other day.
Cool.
Anyway, this one is clear. Since he's bangbaing it,
Mm-hmm.
since he's rejecting it, it's got to be a false one.
Okay.
Okay, so it's an essence that the pen could be a pen in itself. Okay,
Yes.
and that idea is just somebody's, what do you call it?
Fantasy.
What's another word?
Misconception.
It's like a fantasy. Anyway, imagine.
Hallucination.
Elaboration.
Imagined.
Imagined.
Okay, takpa means imagined.
Okay.
By the way, it's the past tense of rotok.
Right, which is the
RTOG.
to think.
Yeah, to think a wrong idea.
Okay.
Okay, good. Cool.
Is this the yoga make-believe stuff?
And by the way, that's as clear as you'll ever get on emptiness from Yunse. See, that's why I want to add some copper to that. Okay, it's a little general. Okay. He won't tell you what it means exactly because he came later. He came earlier. Okay. Dene Papes La. So he's. This is a book about history,
Yes.
and he's got a bunch of denes.
Yeah.
When you're in a monastery and you have a big talker across the table and you're bored to death and you're hoping he'll go away, and I've seen Geshe Lothar do it countless times. The guy will say, and then the abbot said this, and he'll go, Dene? It means what happened next.
Yeah.
And you just go, Dene? Then you drink your tea. Let the guy talk. Then when he runs out of steam, you say, Dene? What happened next? So what you got here is a historical. After that, Dene,
Arya
what
Deva
happened? Yeah, Aryadeva.
and others.
Yang Dapar Lemba is the current spelling.
Lemba. Young
Past tense.
correctly
Yeah,
commented.
Lemba means they took up this tradition.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, they picked up this tradition. Okay, Lang means to pick it up.
Do we have a na here augmenting the lang?
Where are we?
Young Dakar Lenba, not Lanba, but Lenba. The na is changing.
Oh yeah, it does. Yeah, they're the same verb. Lang changes to len. Yeah, past tense of len is long. Yeah, you're right. N changed to ng. They took it up, meaning they took it up the standard. They took up the flag of
Right.
They took up this in a good way, and and
And continue the stream.
yeah, good.
Yeah.
The transmission.
Yes.
The transmission went from one to another.
Passed from one to the next.
This spelling of you with a B means transmission or lineage of lamas.
Oh.
Without the
Parampara?
B, it's tantra. Okay. With the B, it means a historical transmission. So you got to be aware of that. With the B, it changes meaning. Okay. But they pronounce it the same, homonym.
Mm-hmm.
Gyuching, not only did they transmit it, they spelled it.
They made it bigger.
Yeah, they
greater.
expanded it.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so that's kind of a big deal in Buddhism. If you can say this student not only carried it on, which is a good translation of Lang, they expanded on it. They kept it. They didn't just keep it going. They made it richer. Okay, Lang Belte, and then Sangye Nyangene Dene.
The Buddha's nirvana.
Yeah, so
After the Buddha's nirvana.
Buddhist history isn't BC or AD. It's
BN or
NN,
AN.
Dene, NNDA. You know, after the Buddhas and passing away. All dates in Buddhism are dated from the Buddha's passing away. Within 1,000 years. They're not very good at history, I'll tell you. At dates, okay, forget it. Lo Gugya.
900.
Yeah, good. After 900 years had passed,
Mm-hmm. Bodhisattva.
Chanchu Sempe.
The Bodhisattva. The Bodhisattva.
Yeah, the
Jampa.
the
Oh.
Bodhisattva.
Maitreya.
Now, this is kind of a very interesting thing.
Mm-hmm.
What's interesting here?
Because it's a satta.
He's saying, he wrote things like Abhisamankara.
Yeah.
Okay. He's accrediting the 5 books of Maitreya to Maitreya. Most Western scholars would say Asanga, right? So it's interesting that Wensai is crediting it to Maitreya, but he's calling him a bodhisattva.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
in
The Bodhisattva who must have lived 1,000 years.
yeah, or whatever. By the way, in the 10th class of ACI2, we learned that.
He's
He-
well, there's a debate.
Open
about
or secret? You gotta
Yeah,
decide
when
which
you're
one
writing a book of the open teachings,
Mhm.
you're supposed to refer to him as a bodhisattva. So, Wensek is following the rules. He's following the rules. It means he was sensitive to the rules. The rules are, only in Tantra do you call Maitreya a Buddha. But this is not a tantric book. This is a book about interpretation. Okay.
Our source on who wrote it, does Arya Sangha give us like a colophon where he says, I was writing for Maitreya, or
You mean oh?
that
I don't
story.
know. I don't think so.
they didn't do colophons so much in the Shastras?
We can go look sometime. Okay. Jambe dodego masamo mirandawa nasabalatene. This seems to imply, okay. I believe he's saying that Maitreya used the Sandhya Mochana Sutra as a foundation, and then wrote his 5 books.
Mm-hmm.
And that's an interesting point of view because the 5 books are divided among higher middle way, lower middle way, and minor middle way. So it kind of makes sense to say he was reading the Sandhya Mochana Sutra when he wrote these 5 books. It's kind of cool that someone would think that. Okay, so we call it Dode Gondra. That's the short name of that sutra nowadays in Tibetan. The commentary on what I really meant in my sutras. And because it's called Del, a new student, a young student translator will go look it up in the Tingya.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Of course.
But it's really an auto commentary by
By the
Uh,
Buddha.
yeah, it's the Buddha's commentary on himself.
Yeah.
This is why I said all that weird stuff. This is why I contradicted myself. Okay. La sopa la tene, using that sutra, okay, the Bodhisattva Maitreya, Ze,
Compose
composed tenches.
classical commentaries.
Yeah. Now he says something even more controversial. Uta Namje, let's start there. Okay, Udanta Namachepa, Madhyanta Vibhanga. What's it mean? And you're gonna notice that there's an apostrophe here before you answer that.
Oh, the discrimination
Good.
of what U means breath, right? No.
No, that's uk.
Oh, uk. Discrimination.
This is the u and uma, really.
Yeah.
Yeah, what is in the middle and what is at the end?
Yeah,
Yep.
it means one of the 5 great books of Maitreya is called
Oh.
distinguishing between what's the middle way and what are the extremes.
Middle of these, of
Okay,
course.
the ditches on the side of the road and the road.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's a famous madhyanta. Madhya, middle, anta,
Yeah.
edges, vibhangas, separating.
Wow.
Okay. So that was clearly one of the 5 books that we would say Maitreya taught to a sangha or dictated to a sangha. But what about this one?
No, George.
Levels of activity of yoga. So.
Yoga, Chara,
Oh,
Bhumi.
Yogacharya
okay,
Bhumi.
Yeah, Yoga Chara Bhumi. Okay.
That was like he wrote it himself, supposedly, right?
Yeah, I don't know anybody who would say that Maitreya wrote that. That's a sangha. So in our tradition, a sangha wrote some long books of his own, which are the sars. The Bhumi books called Bhumi.
Oh.
And then he took dictation on the 5 short poetic books of Maitreya. The Nelja Chupisa is a huge prose work. Okay. So anyway,
Interesting.
what is Nelja Chupa a synonym for?
Tantra.
Yoga.
Yoga?
Mind only school.
Yeah. Okay.
Yogacharya.
Chittamatra, Chittamatra, mind only school, or Yogachara,
Yeah.
the mind only school. So these are the levels of, I like to call it the levels of yogic practice or something like that. It means yogic practice. Okay, Nelja is into that word for yoga. Japa means practice, and Sa means levels. Okay, and he wrote other books about Hinayana levels and like that.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, good. Now he continues with this theme that those books weren't written by a Sangha because he says, Dene.
And
Dog
then
me.
And
Master of Sangha,
And what's remarkable about that?
that he calls him Lokman as opposed to Pakpa.
yeah.
He doesn't call him Arya, he calls him
Acharya.
Acharya,
Mm.
master. Okay? But maybe it's because he's referring to both of these guys and one of them is not known as an Arya.
Masters.
Union.
Zimyan.
His brother.
Basobandhu.
Yeah, Vasubandhu, his half brother. Ki, Shun.
By them texts or
Yeah, text means major text.
main works.
It can also mean
The government.
Shunlam. Yeah.
Government. Or
By itself,
highway.
Yeah, Shunlam means a highway. Maha Marga, we had it today.
Yes.
Maha Marga.
Uh-huh.
But it can also mean major text. Classic. A classic.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so they took those classics and they young Dr. Long those, and they also built them.
They spread them and they pick them up and carry them and spread them.
They took them up, they took up those viewpoints, and they spread those
Rab
viewpoints.
Tupel, spread them well.
Yeah, did the other guy rub to pelt? I don't
No,
remember.
he didn't Rab Tupel.
Yeah, he just pelled.
He just pelled.
They rubbed to pelt. They super spread them.
Nagarjuna didn't Rab Tupel.
Yeah.
Oh well.
Okay, good. Now, he's driving home his opinion of what?
Of the mind only school versus the Mani Mix.
Of the place of Arya Sangha.
Oh, that he was a dictationer as opposed to a writer?
Not only didn't he not write them, he kind of came along later and accepted them and spread them. You see, he's driving home this idea that he has, that Arya Sangha came much later, found the books of Maitreya, and helped spread them. Okay. I cheated. I gave you the punchline here. But anyway, they'd say, in those days,
Okay, not at that time.
Sangeki Che Rochik Ekarasa.
One flavor.
Yeah, I love this expression, Ekarasa. It means, same flavor. There's a word in English. Single song. I like to call it a single song. They were a single song. The teachings of the Buddha were a single song.
Cool.
Okay? Literally one taste. And because of that, okay, since the teaching of Lord Buddha was unified, there was no tsupa.
Agreement?
No, there was no
debate,
tsupa.
no argument.
Yeah, there was
argument.
no argument between the Tomba'ers and the Yi-Mawa'ers.
The emptinessers
Yeah,
and,
good.
Best consciousness.
and the professors. Those who
the
profess.
minders.
Those who profess.
Oh, right.
The minder school, which means the
Oh.
mind only.
Ipanama.
Yeah,
Is
so
that
he's,
like a pre-mind?
he's referring to the mind only as Yupamawa.
Yeah.
Those who profess the mind, meaning Kushi.
Uh-huh.
Meaning Kushi.
He
Okay.
also calls them the Jnanavada.
Yeah.
Right.
Those who
Yeah.
profess
Cool.
consciousness.
So I like Yuanzi. You're getting a taste of someone 700 years. You're talking 300 years before Buddhism ever came to Tibet. He's writing this before the first Tibetan opened a Buddhist book. 300 years before that.
Wow.
Cool.
And his viewpoint of Buddhism in India, or his viewpoints about the viewpoints of Buddhists, is very, very interesting. And we can learn a lot from it. Okay?
I mean,
And apparently Tsongkhapa was enamored with it. He thought it was valuable.
we can take this pretty definitively as aligning the Yiparmawas with the with mind only, being mind.
Yeah, same thing. And who's the Tomaniers?
Ludru.
The minor, the middle way.
Yeah.
Okay, so he's interesting. This is long before Tsongkhapa, long before Buddhism in Tibet, and he's calling Madhyamika the emptinessers, and he's calling the mind only school the mind professor, the mind asserters or something.
Something like that.
But what is even more interesting, he's saying, is that they didn't have a disagreement in the old days. They got along with each other. Okay, in those days. Nowadays, people struggle to decide whether Asanga's Maitreya's 5 books are mind only or middle way. But according to Yonsei, maybe there was no argument. Maybe in those days it was the same thing. Okay, or they both had a broader vision. And then later it got, like this. Okay. Deichir
And so,
Lopen Nare. So we have Kachignare, Konare. It means you're about to quote somebody. He said, this master, Acharya called Nyewi, I looked him up. I found 2, in one place he's called Upanshu, and another place he's called Upadshu. But I found almost nothing about him. He's quoted in Wensek's commentary many times. But some sources say it is Wensek. But I think it might be maybe it's Huashang. You see, I don't know. What does Huashang's name mean literally? Does it have a
The
literal
master
meaning?
or something?
Xuanzei. I'm sorry, Xuanzei.
Oh, Xuanzang.
Xuanzang, what's his name mean literally? Does it have a literal meaning?
hold on, I just looked it
That
up.
means treasure.
Could it be that his name meant close light? The light which is close. I'm just curious. Maybe we can figure out this little puzzle. I don't think, some people say it is Wensek, but I don't think they're correct, because Wensek quotes him,
Yeah.
So
and he's not going to quote himself.
quotes another guys too.
Yeah, called close light. In Sanskrit, Uparshu. It could be a Chinese. It could be a Chinese who had a Sanskrit name. Maybe somebody can research it tonight or before we meet again. Okay, poke around on the internet.
I'm poking right now.
Yeah, don't poke too hard. we gotta finish this thing.
Okay.
Anyway, since Wensei quotes him a lot, I don't feel that it's.
Himself.
By the way, he's quoting him right here. We're still inside of Wensei.
Yes.
Okay. Mare, he says. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And by the way, you got 3 shays here. Nested, nested, nested. Okay. Here's some kappa shay. Here's the end of
Wensek's
Wensek's what do you call it? Excerpt. And here's his end of this master's comment. This master said this according to Wensek, according to Tsongkhapa.
Yeah.
Nested three people.
Well, wait a minute. Who's writing this?
Tsongkhapa.
No, but why did some
Oh, we're
put
still in the
Shay on
middle
his
of
own?
Wensek. But Wensek's quoting this other master. Wensek's quoting
So
Nyewi.
why would Jetson cover Shay himself?
Oh, that's a good question. Actually, you're right. This Shay is not Tsongkhapa. Is it? No, it could be.
What?
Here, I'll show you. This is from the. This is the end of the 10-year reference. You've only got 2,
Okay.
so it's got to be Tsongkhapa. I'm sorry.
Shaying himself.
Yeah.
Oh wait,
Uh,
we're missing something.
Remember,
saying that he's quoting
no, at the
someone
end
else.
of Xiaoping's text, every time they paraphrase somebody, what do they say? Shui So.
Oh.
You see what I mean?
So he's saying
Which is
this
what they're
I
saying.
mean, or this is
No,
what I'm saying?
what's it saying? Yeah.
What the book says.
What it's saying is,
Yeah, what the book is saying.
the book says,
Yeah.
quote, quote.
Quote.
Okay, anyway, let's just go.
One
Okay,
of them is the
go.
colloquial. The other
Loto,
one is the quotation.
1,000 years.
yeah, 1,000 years
That's
before.
skeptical.
Dunro. Parvo means far side.
Ah.
Dunro means
Close
this
side.
side.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Front side.
In the first 1,000 years.
Oh.
Okay. Or maybe it's 1,000 years ago.
Let's see the
Which
context.
is not the same thing. The Sangye Kicho was Rochik.
the teachings of the Buddha were a single song.
Yeah.
Single song, right.
So let's figure it out. Is he saying, yeah,
Must
yeah.
be in the first 1,000.
Well, no, Dunro means 1,000 years ago, I think.
But yeah, that would be at the time of the Buddha, because 600 minus 1,000 would be when the Buddha passed.
You figure it out.
I got it.
I have a feeling it's for the first 1,000 years of the Buddha's teachings.
You
if
think
it
so?
was a single song. I don't know.
Okay.
That would include Vasubandhu and Asanga are happening 800 years after the Buddha's teaching began. 850 years.
But if it's a quote from Wensek, then there was only 1,000 years of the Buddha.
No, by his time
600.
there was.
1300.
You're right. Yeah.
1,000.
Yeah.
Okay. Maybe I'll buy it.
500 to 500.
Yeah,
1,000.
500 to 700.
500 to
When
350.
Xuanzang is 750,
Yeah. So it's
right?
No, Xuanzang is 600, 603 to like
Oh.
600.
Really?
Yeah, Wensek was 613 or something.
So it's 1150 years between Buddha and Xuanzang.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
For the first 1,000 years,
Yep.
Yeah, 630.
meaning until just before Xuanzang went to India.
Mhm.
Okay.
What was that?
For the first
5
1,000 years,
minutes, guys.
Okay.
the Buddha's teaching was a single song. Dei Tsunche means after that. Okay. Subsequent to that.
Sunche as opposed to, is that like Menche?
Yeah, but it's the opposite.
Okay.
After that.
Okay.
Okay. From then on, it means from then on.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay. Jamba Dang Shiram, memory
Recollection.
and wisdom.
And wisdom.
I looked up keiki because I didn't know the word.
Okay.
It means delver, which means slowly.
Okay.
Slowly?
Yeah. Keiki means slowly. You know, step by step.
Mm-hmm.
God.
It's coming to an end.
Ended.
They were denied.
Denied, right.
Gotcha.
Okay. Now, what he's talking about, we gotta think about because I don't offhand know what he's talking about. Maybe it's some opinion about the validity of memories. The Prasangika believes they are sema. The lower schools believe they are not sema.
Well, hasn't he been talking about the teachings in general? That would be a big jump, wouldn't it?
Well, let's finish the sentence and then you chew on it and let us know what you decide.
Okay.
In time, after that, people began to deny
Emptiness.
memory and wisdom. Okay.
Hmm.
What's that a reference to? Some school? Or I don't know. Let's think about it. But then there started to spread in the world. Okay,
Uh-huh.
Jikten Na. There started to spread
Mhm.
these two schools, the
Uh-huh.
emptinessers
And the stuffers.
and the existencers.
Oh,
What's
yeah.
Yopamawa? Sarvastivadana.
Those who profess it.
What's Sarvastivadana?
It's a branch of the Vaibhashika school.
Yeah, I don't think he's talking about Yopa Tanjimawa. Okay, I don't think he's talking about that. The Sarvastivadana. Tamche Yopamawa. Tamche Yopamawa. I don't think he's talking about that. I think he's talking about people who don't accept the Thomas.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Okay, who's left is people who say, well, things exist as they seem.
Right.
I believe he's talking about all the schools of thought that weren't emptinessers.
Because that's earlier in the text. Jason Copper refers to that the ones who believe, or maybe it was someone else's text, in you and believe that things exist.
Oh yeah, as they seem.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a Nuparmawa.
Well,
That's the lower three schools are called
Functionist.
fingers.
Functionist.
Yeah,
Mm.
functionalists,
Yeah, yeah.
because they think that when something works, the power that it works is within the thing. Gasoline works to drive a car because there's a chemical inside of gasoline that can combust. But an emptinesser would say the fact that you gave other people rides in the past is what gives this liquid the power to drive a car. And the function of a thing doesn't lie within it. Okay, and that's DCI. I mean, that's our viewpoint. Okay. So anyway,
2 minutes, Geshe. 1 minute.
yeah, I don't know. Maybe you could study more Xuan Song and Yuan Tse and see.
In my spare time.
Yeah.
I can give it a
But
try.
it's obvious what he's.
Thank
it's
you.
his words are being used by Yuan Tse
Mm-hmm.
to demonstrate that originally there were no two schools, and later slowly there came to be two schools. If he's using this quotation to prove his earlier statement,
Mm-hmm.
a trick of translation is to assume that the quotation is talking about the development of those two schools.
Right.
Then you can work backwards from
That.
what he's trying to prove
Yeah.
to what he uses to prove it, and make it fit the proof.
Exactly.
Okay, which is dangerous, but that's the way it is. Okay, you see what I mean?
Yeah.
If he's using this comment to prove that two schools developed, and specifically the Madhyamika and the mind only, then somehow Yupa Mawa must be mind onlyer. You see what I mean? That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I get it.
Okay. Or he thought it was. And then don't forget you're dealing with a translation. This is written in Chinese.
It's interesting he just called it Ipar Mawa and now he's just Yupar Mawa.
Oh my God! You know what? It might be a mistake.
It might be a mistake.
Yeah,
Check
that's
the
cool.
carving. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good call, word.
Good call, man.
That's damned interesting.
Hey, yeah. One of them is That's probably 90% what it is.
Yeah,
Let's
Yeah, it is
Good
what
look.
it is.
it's gotta be.
Yeah, so somebody's got to go find a scan.
Do we have one?
Sure.
We should be
I
asking
think
you.
it's
Ask
in the
Jigme.
Dropbox.
Just ask Jigme.
Word, is it not in the Dropbox?
I think it is,
I
yeah.
put it in there
No,
last term.
but you can go to the Tengyur scan.
Oh, that's in.
Oh, I have the Tengyur. Duh. Here's the Tengyur scan. Right here.
Oh.
Uh-oh, Tsupamawa.
Oh no.
Well, Ratsa could look like a Ya. If there's a Naro.
Right.
No, now it's obviously Yupamawa.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Well, we
Yeah.
Well,
tried.
But what did he use
About
above?
the other one.
Yippe Tsupa
Ipa.
Mawa. Maybe the Yipar Mawa is wrong.
Where's
No.
his Yupamawa? Oh, he look.
Yupar.
That's Yupar too.
Oh, so
Right.
the Yipar Mawa was
Oh,
Yeah.
no.
The
pot.
Yi is a mistake.
Plot thickens.
Dee, 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 dee. Right here.
Whoa. God. I need to tell my wife what a crazy day we had.
These were used for
We
Suzu.
just dissolved the mind only
Here,
school.
change the
I gotta tell you, translators,
Right.
about wives, okay? You go home and you want to brag about something, and you're like, "Hey, I said it was you, but we didn't know we thought you about you." And they're like, "What's for dinner?"
Bounce, take your baby.
I just get ready for your next 30, 40 years of life. They're just like, I always tell my wife, you know, where else can you find a grammarian of Tibetan like me? You can't get rid of me.
Indispensable.
Yeah. Anyway, Tibetan grammarians are so sexy. Okay, anyway, you gotta find ways to convey your little discoveries in normal language.
There was a typo.
Carbo, we gotta call them carbos.
Carvos.
Carvo.
Carbo.
Is that it?
Yeah, we gotta
You
go.
guys gotta go to class.
Yeah, we gotta get
Yeah.
in there.
I get to go home. Today I'm gonna catch the squirrel for sure.
Sashi.
Buki Chuxing Meto Chao Rira Lingshin Inde Genpadi Sangye Shingdu Mikte Uargi Jokun Namdak Shingla Chuparsho Idam Guru Ratna Mandala Kamya Tayami
Gewa.
Di Gewo Kun Sunam Yeshe Sotsok Shin Sunam Yeshe Lejung Wei Dambar Kunyi Prabhupada.